The year was 632, and Arabia stood at a crossroads. The prophet had passed away, and with his death came a wave of uncertainty. Tribal elders across the peninsula began to ask the same question. What exactly held Arabia together now? In Medina, the answer came swiftly. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, elected as the first caliph, understood better than most that empires are not born from enthusiasm, but from institution. The community had duties, treaties, agreements, and obligations that extended far beyond spiritual allegiance. Without leadership, the fragile unity built over years could collapse in weeks. Across the tribes, that collapse began almost immediately. Some clans refused to pay the obligatory alms, others broke their treaties, and a few rallied behind rival claimants who declared themselves prophets. Among the most notable were Musaylima of Yamama, Tulayha of Banu Asad, and al-Aswad al-Ansi in Yemen. Their movements were not mere religious schisms, they were political bids to control the vacuum left by Medina. Abu Bakr saw the pattern instantly. If Arabia fractured, it would not fracture into a peaceful tapestry of tribes, but into a mosaic of warlords. And so he made a decision that would define the early Muslim state. He refused to separate religious identity from political obligation. "By God," he declared to his generals, "if they withhold even a rope they used to give, I will fight them for it." It was not fanaticism, it was statecraft. Without tax, there was no treasury. Without treasury, no army. Without army, no state. The Ridda Wars, the wars of apostasy, had begun. His next decision was equally decisive. He appointed 11 commanders, each assigned to a separate tribe or region. But the most important campaign he entrusted to a man, whose name would soon echo from the Euphrates to the Mediterranean. Khalid ibn al-Walid. Khalid was already legendary. In the wars before, he had shown an instinct for maneuver that few commanders in late antiquity could match. Where others saw obstacles, he saw routes. Where others saw deserts, he saw corridors of movement. Where others feared encirclement, he traced the geometry of victory. To Khalid, armies were instruments, and terrain was a tool. Under Abu Bakr's orders, Khalid marched first against Tulayha in the north. The campaign was swift. Khalid did not rely on drawn-out sieges or attrition. He used speed, shock, and timing, arriving before the opposing tribes could consolidate their levies. Tulayha fled, and the coalition around him dissolved. But the true crucible lay in Yamama, where Musaylima held court among the powerful Banu Hanifa. Their lands were fertile, their warriors numerous, and their alliances wide. This would not be a skirmish. It would be a national test. Before Yamama, however, the peninsula continued to burn. In Bahrain, Oman, and Yemen, Medina's envoys were ambushed, garrisons besieged, and loyalties reversed. The Ridda Wars were not a single front. They were a continent-wide political wildfire. Yet Abu Bakr held the center. He did not chase crises in circles. He prioritized them, extinguishing the fires closest to Medina first, then pressing outward in widening rings of stability. By late 632, the map had changed. The rebellions in Asad, Tayyi, and much of Najd had been broken. The western Hijaz was secured. Khalid's forces had carved a path across the northern interior like a whetstone through dry wood. Medina now had a professional corps. Men tested by raids, duels, and mobile desert warfare who understood formation, signaling, and discipline. Only Yamama remained unconquered, and it would be there, among the gardens and fields of Central Arabia, that the fate of the new state would be decided.